point when interviewing is to keep your answers positive. In the videos, you saw John highlight his knowledge, skills, and ability. But he was also careful to use language that left a positive impression with the interviewer. He used language that let the interviewer see him in action as a man who can get things done. We have John here with us now, so let's hear what he has to say about this. John, let's start with your strategy for answering the time-honored "tell me about yourself."
First of all, Daniela, this question, and you can pretty much guarantee that it'll be one of the first asked, really means, tell me why I should hire you. The interviewer is not asking for your life story or to hear about an award you won in college. The interviewer wants to hear why he or she should hire you. So, you have to sell yourself. But positive language means more than your words. It starts with the way you sit, the way you present yourself, the way you speak. At United Health, I'm interviewing for a senior management position, so I have to speak with authority. Customer service is key to the job, so I want to make sure I connect with the interviewer. I do that through the way I speak, the eye contact I make, and the way I use my voice. Go back and watch my response. You'll hear energy in my voice. You'll see enthusiasm in my eyes. You'll see I smile. I'm selling myself, and I'm excited about the product.
All right, so you're talking about being positive in your use of body language and vocal variety. That makes sense. What else? You say you're selling yourself. How?
The interviewer has a job to fill. Your strategy should aim at persuading the interviewer that you're a good fit for the job. That's easy to say. Think about something simple, like buying a pair of shoes. A salesperson will show you 5 different pairs of shoes. They're all in your size, but that doesn't mean they all fit. Do they fit the unique shape of your foot? Do they fit your personal style? Do they fit your specific purpose for buying the shoe? And that's just for a pair of shoes. For a new hire, the process is much more complex.
Okay, John, so if you were a pair of shoes, what kind of shoe would you be?
Well, there's a wild card question for you. But if you want to know, I would be the kind of shoe that fits. So in an interview, I want to make it clear how I can benefit the company, how what I bring and everything I bring, my character, my competencies, fits the company's needs, how I fit into the organizational culture, how I can support the company's mission, how I grasp what the job calls for and can take that on. The interview process is about finding the best fit, the best person for the job for that company.
Great point. So what's your strategy to answering "tell me about yourself"?
I respond to the question, why should I hire you? So I briefly highlight my experience and skills and emphasize how these tie into the requirements of the position. I've found that the best way to do this is to focus on those key competencies I can demonstrate that will best fit the organization. For United Health, I chose my competencies in managing time, budgeting resources, and keeping clients happy.
And once you have those established, where do you go from there?
After you point out the key competencies, then you give some examples of how you demonstrate those competencies. From there, you move to how you would benefit the company, and then your expected professional development. And then I like to close with a question back to the interviewer.
Very nice. I like the structured response. It's easy to translate to any interview context. Let's move on to a different question. If the interviewer asks you directly, what makes you the best candidate? What's your strategy there?
During my preparation, I've already identified what I think are the top 3 competencies a winning candidate should be able to demonstrate. Then, I've thought about what makes me unique. I'll present that using the basic introduction, 3 main points, conclusion form. This is a standard structure taught throughout the English language world. In fact, it's taught from grade school up through university, so an interviewer can follow it almost automatically.
And you're using positive language to highlight your experience?
Definitely. In my response, I use words like supported, engaged, managed, planned, proposed. These are all action words. For example, instead of saying, I was responsible for a multi-million-dollar project, I say, I managed a multi-million-dollar project. I was responsible for is passive. I managed is active. I can also say I directed, I delegated, I motivated. Again, all action words. They communicate positive actions that I undertook to achieve results. Because that's my take on the number one thing a hiring manager at United Health is looking for in a project manager: someone who can get things done.
Makes sense. But how do you use positive language when the question asks for negative information? Something like, why are you looking to leave your current position? What's your strategy in answering questions like that?
Why does that have to be a negative? I think that's the key to an effective strategy, Daniela. Even if you're asked about a failure or about your greatest weakness, that doesn't have to be negative. Take, for example, the American inventor, Thomas Edison. He had a famous line. He said, "I haven't failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." And this shows how a negative can be turned into a positive. And your greatest weakness? If you've really reflected on that question, use that to show positive self-awareness. If you've taken action to address the weakness, use that to show positive self-management.
That makes sense. How are you going to apply that to the question?
So let's look at it. Why am I looking to leave my current position? It's framed as a negative. Why do I want to leave? But why can't it be a positive? Certainly, I'm not going to talk badly about the company I'm leaving. I don't want to burn any bridges. But more than that, there's a positive reason. I want to continue my own personal development. So think about it. In life, we often have to give up one thing to get another. When you left home for the first time, was it because you wanted to leave your parents, or was it because you wanted to set off on your own? You had to let one thing go to grab hold of another. So that's my strategy here. I'm leaving behind a great company with great people where I learned a lot and had great experiences. That's how I choose to think about it. That's the attitude I choose. But now, I'm moving forward to another great company with more great people where I have even greater opportunities. I'll highlight how the company I'm interviewing with represents a great opportunity. I'll frame the discussion as an opportunity, and I'll use that word opportunity frequently in my response.
What other positive language elements or phrases can you incorporate in your response?
Along with opportunity, I might say something about my strong desire to work in a particular field, or my ability to demonstrate my skills in a particular area. My top-level strategy is to use positive language to show the interviewer that I'm enthusiastic and excited about the position I'm interviewing for.
That sounds like a key point. Success in an interview is not about having answers for the interviewer. It's about having a strategic approach to the interview. That's smart business. Thinking strategically. We're running short on time here, John. Any other advice for our viewers?
I want to emphasize that you should have positive answers to everything. If an interviewer asks you about a former boss or a former job, see how positive you can keep it. If someone says, "Tell me about your former boss," what will they think if you answer, "My boss was very hands-off"? They'll wonder what's wrong with you, that you needed your boss to be hands-on. You'll leave a negative impression if you say negative things.
But saying your boss was very hands-off doesn't sound all that negative.
Sure, it's not as unwise as saying he was a terrible boss, but I'm figuring our viewers are smart enough not to say that. My point is this: think how different it would be to say he was a great boss. He always gave the team plenty of space to let us make decisions on our own. He was there when we needed help, but it was great to feel how much he trusted us. Same idea, but phrased with strong positive language.
Great point. Plus, it communicates your readiness to take responsibility.
Exactly. It's positive and business savvy. Here's another example. A friend of mine just landed a great job, but he didn't finish college and he was a little worried about that. He knew he'd get questioned on it. We talked it out and I pressed him to think positively. He got frustrated with me and he finally blurted out, "I just wanted to get out and do things. College bored me." So I told him, "That's great. Now position that truth as a benefit to a company." He finally came up with something along the lines, "I like to be out there doing things. I finished several semesters, but I wanted to get more done. And that's what my bosses have always said about me. I'm a guy who gets things done." And that's what I mean. He's being truthful, but also positive and business savvy.
Excellent. That's a great example.
Before we go, I do want to say, remember you're talking to a specific company, so do your research ahead of time. Then you can keep the interview positive and make sure you steer it in the right direction, the company's needs, and how you can help.
Great advice, John. That's all for this lesson. We'll see you in the next video.